Tough all to roast, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Pretty Decent podcast review. Today we're doing a breakdown of Iron Man from 2008, which was the very first MCU film. I'm here joined again by Don and by our very special guest, NatterJohn, who's here to discuss about the film. If you saw our Incredible Hulk podcast, you probably might have known that Don over here thought that that was the very first MCU film.
Yes, that was my mistake.
Yeah, but this, in fact, not the Incredible Hulk. Oh my gosh, the fact that Iron Man was the very first MCU film. So, yeah, we're going to break down the movie from the very beginning.
I'll get through all the stuff we need to get through. Got the cast here. Of course, we've got Robert Downey Jr., who I don't think you can think of anyone else.
In my opinion, aside from like J. Jonah Jameson, I think Tony Stark is the best cast person I've ever seen in a superhero movie.
I could actually totally agree in that. I feel like Robert Downey Jr.'s pick for Iron Man was just perfection.
Yeah, like I said, I think J.K. Simmons as Jonah Jameson is the top for me for obvious reasons, but Tony Stark is definitely second. Like, that casting was literally perfect. And the fact that he came from so little as well, like, not Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. was a criminal before,
I actually have notes about this, so if you want to talk about, go ahead, but I've got some stuff.
No, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I do know he was a criminal, like, he was even in jail at one point, and then
RDJ, he was a stereotypical teen superstar back in the 80s, and like what happens with most teen superstars, they fall into like the whole drug abuse and all that stuff. He went to prison and all that stuff, and ironically, when he got out of prison, the first person who gave him an acting gig was Elton John in one of his music videos.
Oh, really?
Because Elton John himself struggled with substance abuse and understood that RDJ went through the same thing. I've got several things. Kevin Feige, as we all know, who is the president of Marvel Studios, he championed for Robert Downey Jr. to play Iron Man because he believed that because RDJ suffered with substance abuse, that his struggles could sort of come across in...
And I feel like they really do come across in this film because, as we can see, again, we'll break down scene by scene, but I just want to point out, like, this whole film really does show Tony Stark's growth from being just a complete jackass. He's your typical rich playboy, he's so egotistical, he's so full of himself. But then, when he experiences a literal near like death experience pretty much, and an event that like he probably won't come out of alive, it's like he gets a huge change of heart, and it's it's not immediate. It's like gradually over a period he really kind of changes perception, and I think it's just a really cool character, and Robert Downey Jr. was the perfect cast for that.
If I can put in their apology about what you said, it's kind of crazy that within 10 minutes we go from him absolutely like snogging a bird like in a bed, and then like 10 minutes later, not even 10 minutes later, he's like over Jensen's dead body. Yeah, like it's really it really just emphasizes that sort of change of heart in him, really.
Yeah. I'll do what I can as always. I'll try and keep us on track. I'm probably going to fail miserably as happened last time. But so we start, of course, in the Middle East. ACD is blaring across.
ACDC, you mean?
ACDC, that's what,
no, that's Thunderstruck. Where the one with the song was Back in Black.
I don't know any ACDC song other than Thunderstruck.
So like it just sort of gives the idea of like, he's a rock star, he doesn't listen to anyone and all that stuff. It's a kind of it's a good, you really get the idea of who Tony is at the start of this.
You do, yeah.
Like, again, he's...
I guess it almost... Oh, sorry, did I cut across you there?
No, it's alright.
I was saying
I'm used to it with Podrick doing it.
It almost kind of emphasizes what the sort of teen angle he has. I don't know how to explain it. You're kind of saying he's like a teen star, and like people usually associate like teens with like excessive rock music and stuff, like stereotypically.
That's true.
I think that's an interesting parallel, actually.
I just said that because he was a teen star. I mean, like... He was most well known before this to be in Mad Science.
I don't know. I just think that is kind of interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Just what else was I going to say?
Well,
Well, you keep going. Yeah, I
he's
suppose.
he's also clearly he's portrayed as a sexist pig.
yeah.
Here, he makes very interesting comments about the female soldier in the Humvee that he's in.
Yeah,
He talks about
does.
how her face is almost structure isn't right for a woman or something like that.
Goodness gracious. Yeah, I would just.
Yeah. Okay, so we get through it. He does a very interesting thing. MySpace is mentioned, which is
That dates this film horribly. I'm just realizing.
yeah, that's the
Yeah,
one thing
the-
that apart from like considering all the Dell computers that are around the movie as well.
Yeah.
But-
Dell is still pretty prominent today.
I know, but like these are like Dell was like the most like
I mean, you see the computers in some of the scenes, and like the, back in the U.S. military, like, and you see they have like the big boxy computer monitors.
Yeah.
I don't know what those are specific monitors are called.
RCTs.
RCTs. Yeah.
So we go through this. He's essentially does like the whole thing where he's like taking a picture. He does like the Nixon peace thing. I'm not a crook,
Yeah.
which is very perfect for him. And then we get a almost very chilling ambush scene. Even though it's got no blood, it's very graphic.
It is. Yeah. That's something I would like to point out. It is a very graphic, very intense scene as well. Like, it's a very intense opening where it really gives a sense that Tony is really out of his environment as well.
True.
the
He's
car gets turned into Swiss cheese.
yeah. It gets turned into
That
Swiss
scene
cheese and
where the soldier steps out and then the entire Humvee is riddled with bullets.
yeah, like and like Tony's just there panicking and doesn't know what to do. So then he just decides to step out of the vehicle, of course, and what
And I
happens
want to
then.
point out, you did point out that it was a stupid idea, but I want to point out when people panic, they don't particularly think well. You can be the smartest human being on earth, and you can still do dumb shit when you panic.
That is
Yeah.
true. Yeah, that is true, and that happens in the film as well. He he just panics and ends up getting blown up by
I
a
want to point
missile.
out the beauty in it. He gets blown up by his own
That is
weapon.
just.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not even like we haven't even gotten to the flashback yet, and we haven't even seen his personality. But like, I feel once you rewatch this movie, it kind of puts that in a different light almost.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, that's before, like I said, that's before the flashback. That's before we see how he's like just at home, an asshole.
True.
He's kinda-
Yeah.
I mean, sure, we see him confident, but it isn't until that flashback that we really see how much of a kind of dickhead he is.
Exactly. Yeah. It kind of gives like when you're very first watching this film for the first time, like I did. God knows how long ago. Like, you feel bad for Tony Stark at first when he gets blown up because you're like, oh, wow, why is he in this situation? But gee, he didn't deserve to get blown up. As we said that, we could see then from watching his flashback that there's almost kind of a sense that like, oh man, geez, this guy was such a just a complete like.
You gonna get it out?
Yeah, I'll get it out. Just a complete bum. I'm just gonna say a bum, a rich bum. That he kind of deserved it a little.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say deserves it, but like he kind of you kind of get the idea. It's a bit of irony, like
Yeah, it's what I was saying. It's really eye-opening that his own weapon is what blows up in his
exactly.
face.
Yeah.
I also want to point out as well, Jon Favreau, who directed this, he stated that he wanted this film to feel more realistic. So that's why instead of setting it in Vietnam, which was the original whole concept of his origins, they set it in the Middle East.
True.
And to have, instead of like the Viet Cong type people to kidnap him, it's terrorists.
True. Yeah. And yeah, I feel like that really does like make this film feel a bit updated.
But it does
more-
also have the effect of dating it to a period of time when the number one threat everyone was talking about was terrorists. And it was always like, oh, beware the Middle East. Everyone in the Middle East is a terrorist.
Yeah.
At least in this movie, it doesn't go that route. It does like show like these individuals, like the people who kidnap him.
Yeah, true. Which I'm really glad
They
did
point
show
out that they're like, there's like Russians in there. There's people from all over, like essentially the world that are a part of this organization.
Exactly,
It's not just
yeah,
one section
yeah.
of a country.
Yeah, it's cool, and I love that too as well because I remember there's like a very small scene. When like the guard comes into the again we'll go back later into the scene, but when Jensen is preparing the Mark I suit for Tony in the cave, like one of the guards is speaking Hungarian, I believe
Yeah.
it is, and like he doesn't understand the language, and it's just
Mhm.
it's a really cool moment. Like it's such a subtle, but it's really cool. It shows that side of it. Yeah.
So we're gonna go right back. We're gonna in the movie it says 36 hours earlier after he gets abducted.
Before he gets abducted?
Before he gets abducted.
Yeah.
Tony is supposed to be getting an award for something.
Yeah.
God knows the rich love getting awards for random stuff.
Yeah.
And he is in a gambling hall. Not a gambling hall. He's like in a casino.
Yeah.
With women all around him and men who clearly have nothing better to do with their lives.
Living the American dream, boy.
Yeah, he's like gambling on all that stuff. And he gets snake eyes in that gambling scene. I don't know if this is true or not, but the snake eyes is kind of associated with like, it's a bad throw in blackjack, I think it was that they were playing. It's the two dice with like the ones. And it's the snake eyes is sort of either associated with bad luck or it's this sign of death.
Something like that,
Holy
yeah.
shit.
Which is even more interesting. We do see even more how an annoying prick Tony is, because he just is talking to random people. He hands his award off to some guy as he's walking out, and then he meets the reporter. Who's she talks about how he clearly is profiteering from this war that's happening in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And he clearly shows that he doesn't understand anything. He's talking about how she says that he has a name called the Reaper of Death, and he thinks, oh, that's badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and at first, the reporter looks like she hates him. And then we get a sex scene.
We do, yeah. And we're not going to get into detail with that because, yeah.
It's a lot. Look, I will have to admit, I find it a bit funny.
It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious.
It's hilarious because of
it's
how
just
out
so,
of pocket it is.
Yeah, it's just so out of pocket.
We're literally talking about a war in the Middle East. People are fucking dying, and then
smash cut to the bedroom.
Oh my gosh, yeah. But like, it's kind of funny too because I think like Christine was the character's name. Yes. She later does come back with like actual important info.
I wish she had shown up more in these movies because she was I like the idea of this reporter who was feeding Tony this information.
Yeah, she almost kind of reminded me of like Vicky Vale in Batman a bit, like, you know, just this kind of reporter who is somewhat kind of a bit of a love interest to the main character, to the main hero, but like, but genuinely actually helps, like, you
know. As we get past the whole sex scene, then we get introduced to Tony Stark's wonderful mansion.
We do.
Which I doubt anyone could afford nowadays, even the rich.
Yeah, true. Like literally, yeah.
But as things go on, we get introduced to Pepper, who is a clear departure from every woman seen up to this point. I'm not saying that as a joke, but I'm just saying like how different she is. She's clean. She's well mannered. She talks straight. She clearly has had enough of Tony's shit because this clearly is the first time Tony has bedded a woman.
You know what's better than Pepper, man?
Stop talking about this.
Salt.
Yeah, whatever. That joke was shit. We then get a foreshadow.
Oh, it took me a second to get that. It took me a second. I was like, what's salt?
Okay. Then when, we find Tony, he's in his garage, and this gives the first idea that he's a tinkerer.
He is,
even though he's a dick, he is a tinkerer, and we get like a call, almost like a foreshadowing to like the whole idea of the blueprints where he's like scanning the engine. And you see the blueprint of it on the screen.
You do, yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's also shown here to be a massive man-child.
Oh, he's a complete man-child.
They literally tell him his flight was meant to leave like what, an hour and a half ago or
3 hours, yeah.
3? Oh my god, how did I divide that by 2 in my head?
Yeah.
I get stressed if I'm late to like a doctor's appointment by just 10 minutes.
Yeah.
He's going to a fucking weapons deal worth millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
What did they say? 5 million when he pulls out the drinks?
Something like that. Like 5 million.
We get a good scene with Rhodey. He's talking about how he was waiting 3 hours on that plane for him. And then we get a scene. Of course, all the girls in the plane are beautiful.
Yeah.
And it just gives the idea that Tony, he almost disconnects himself from the world.
Oh, he does, yeah.
He's built his own world around him with like, sexy, beautiful women, fast cars, big money.
Yeah.
He completely ignores it all. And we get a very nice scene where Rhodey gets drunk,
Yeah, he gets drunk.
which is kind of funny.
I want to touch actually a bit on Rhodey's actor. I feel.
I've got an entire section in my notes dedicated to him.
Yeah. We might take a look at them now.
Okay. So Terrence Howard is the guy who is playing Rhodey in this movie.
Yeah, and
he does not return ever after this movie.
True. Yeah, he was replaced by Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle.
The reason
Don
why
Cheadle, yeah.
is because Terrence Howard originally he signed a 3-picture deal with Paramount,
right? Yeah,
and he believed he was going to be getting $8 million out of this.
$8 million. Oh my goodness!
But after he signed on and started filming, he discovered that Marvel was offering him up to like less than 50% of what he was promised.
Oof, that's
and
a big oof,
he was
yeah.
cut from his first budget he was supposed to be getting this was like around 8 million.
Yeah.
He only got 4.5.
Oh, geez.
Which-
Yeah. I mean, it's still a lot of money, to be fair.
It is, but this is an actor. So.
Yeah, true, I suppose, yeah. But,
the thing was, he was offered 4.5 for this movie. It's rumored for the next movie he was only going to get like 1 million.
1 million.
But they say, but it's possible that he was going to make that money back in royalties, considering the fact that in the second movie he was going to become the War Machine.
Machine, yeah.
But after all that stuff happened, after he left,
Yeah.
and Don Cheadle came in, Terrence Howard then said that they gave the majority of his pay to RDJ.
Genie Mac, yeah.
So it's a very.
all right, I will admit that is very shitty what happened. I'm not going to deny that or say Terrence Howard's a bad roadie or anything, but I just prefer Don Cheadle, man.
Yeah,
I wouldn't replace Don Cheadle with anyone.
I still think Terrence Stamp did a very good job in this film.
Terrence.
Is it Terrence Stamp? Is
This
it
not
Terrence Howard?
Terrence
Oh,
Howard.
sorry, Terrence Howard. Jesus,
Who the hell? Where did you get Stamp from?
I don't know.
All right, so we go through all that. We end up in the Middle East, and I also want to point out that in the majority of the military guys you see in these things, the guys who don't really talk or anything, those are actually military personnel.
Yeah.
The actors who do the guys who are talking, they are actors, but the people you see in the background are proper military personnel.
Really?
Gee,
Wow.
I actually never knew that. Wow, that's an interesting fact.
So we go through all this. He kind of goes. He goes on this weird, not weird, but kind of like this sort of disconnected speech about how America has the right to, in quotes, defend itself, but in reality they're just firing missiles wherever they want.
Yeah.
But as that goes, and he goes this idea of that's how America does it, that's how Dad did it, talking about how his dad worked on the atomic bomb in this universe.
Yeah.
And he's sort of given this idea of you really get the sense that he does not understand what he's selling.
Yeah, I would agree on that. He's very, yeah.
Just goes boom and he'll sell it.
Yeah, pretty much that, yeah.
And after that happens, we go from him being driven in the Humvee. We get a quick explosion that kind of gives ties in the whole thing. And then we get a scene where he's sort of being tended to by Jensen. He gets the magnet placed into his chest.
It's an electromagnet hooked up to a car battery, I think he said specifically.
Yeah, that's what he said specifically. You're right about that.
And then after that, there's a bit of a scary scene where he's first he pulls the nasal thing out of his nose.
Oh, man.
Which you said that you had this done before.
Yeah, I had that done back when I was very young. I had a very bad illness at one point when I was in hospital. Again, won't get into detail about that, but yeah, I had to get the similar kind of tube.
I had a similar thing done as well, but I can't tell you exactly where they did it without age restricting this video. So.
Exactly, yeah.
I think we already got to that point with the age restriction.
Yeah,
definitely, yeah.
But it's sort of it's kind of a scary thing as well when he's pulling the band-aids from his chest.
Yeah.
Which we kind of got that. It was almost a horror scene, and we got those horror elements in the Hulk.
We did too, yeah. I feel again, this was with a lot of Phase 1 movies in Marvel, they weren't afraid to show a little bit of graphicness, a little bit of, grudge, you could say, just
Grunge, yeah.
grudge, just a little bit of like, oh yeah, like, we're not, the world's not all sunshine and rainbows here. Like, people get hurt. Our heroes do get injured, and like, there's actual like, danger. There's danger, and like, I'm not saying the MCU today doesn't have that, but I definitely feel a lot more MCU films today are much more like cleaner. In terms of like, even cinematography, like, in the scene is in the cave, we see Tony like building his armor.
He's
see
sweaty and
sweaty,
dirty.
he's dirty. You don't see that much now. Everything is just so crystal clean and clear, I feel, in a lot of films. And I mean, I could just be rambling on about that, but like, that's just.
I'll actually add on to that, Podge. I really like the color palette in those scenes. Like, everything's so kind of dark and gritty. I mean, of course it's a cave, but like, I'm saying, like, stylistically as well. I feel it really kind of emphasizes what you're saying, how he's kind of all dirty, sweaty, and just... I feel that's even reflected in, like, Jensen. Even though Jensen's a lot cleaner, obviously, and he doesn't have a freaking electromagnet in his chest, and it's still just so kind of dark. It's kind of completely contrasting everything we saw in the movie up until that point, and everything after, really.
And I just want to point out, I think Jensen is just a very underrated character in this film. A lot of people don't really tend to talk about Jensen.
I think he's essential to Tony's story.
He is essential, because he's basically like the mentor. Like, he's the only character that really...
He's not just a mentor. Going. He's the compass, like the moral compass that Tony never had.
He said, "Don't waste your life.
Don't waste your life." Yeah.
And by the end of Tony's life, he ended up saving the world.
Literally saving everything. Like, and I just think that's what makes his character very good as well. And like, even though he has very little screen time, he just has such a great
you know what, Podge? I'd argue he doesn't have too little screen time. He has the perfect amount of screen time to serve his character well.
Actually, I would actually, I changed my mind. I agree in that. I think his character has the perfect amount of screen time to really kind of give across that, side of Tony out,
I feel anything more would have done his character a disservice.
Maybe, probably, yeah.
One thing, and as well, I want to point out, Tony points to the fact that these terrorists have dark weapons.
Yeah.
That's a clear foreshadow that Stain is behind this, or at least the Stark company is behind this.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
It's alright, we put spoilers in the title.
Yeah.
We do, yeah.
So yeah. It's clear as Tony is like just after this whole thing where the terrorists come in and they explain they want a Jericho missile. And first Tony is like, I'm not building it. I don't want to build it. And Jensen talks to him as like, you're an infamous figure here in this part of the world. You're like, because his Stark Industry, his name is plastered on everything.
Literally, yeah.
His name, I mean, like, I know we're going to be getting ahead of ourselves, but it's a Stark missile that lands in Scarlet Witch's home.
That's true, yeah. We later find out. Yeah.
I can't remember the line, but they literally say he's the most famous mass murderer from America. Or
they did,
like
yeah.
that.
There was one of the leaders of the 10 Rings.
12 rings.
No, it's the 10.
Oh, 12, yeah. 10.
10. But one of the leaders of 10 Rings, he says that to Tony Stark, which again, it just kind of shows, that Tony, he's not perfect. He's not perfect. He did cause a lot of mass destruction. I mean, it might not be exactly him personally doing it, but the company is his name.
Yeah.
And the company have been given these weapons, to these bad guys, I'm just going to refer them as, and they've essentially been using them against the innocents, which is, again, it just shows, Tony kind of created his own monsters, you could say.
Exactly. So it's from Jensen talking to Tony. He gets the idea to really push, to stop making weapons. And that is first started when he actually makes his own miniature arc reactor.
Literally, yeah.
And I get the idea, because we get further in the movie, Stain explains that they only made the arc reactor just for public, like a public display or something.
Public display, like I think it's like Stain says, like, so that the hippies would stop talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's clear to me that from the fact that Tony is can whips this up easily, he could have done this ages ago and just didn't bother.
Literally.
Which is, it's almost sad that he could have made this like the power of the sun and the palm of my hand, essentially.
Yeah.
But again, I think that it's interesting you pointed that out, Donald, because I don't know, it was in one episode of What If. The What If episode, I believe, it was What If Killmonger saved Tony Stark.
Yes.
And like he actually gets the idea of like miniaturizing the
army with
armor. Yeah, the arc reactor, but then he just immediately brushes off like, oh no, that's a bad idea, that's a stupid idea. And it's kind of interesting because I feel like if this never happened to him, if this attack never happened to him, even in What If, I think the Watcher says like if Iron Man never like experienced what happened in the cave, in that cave and that whole war like experience, he would have never became Iron Man at all, and he would have never made the arc reactor at all.
And just at this point now, I just had this thinking. We all know that Tony makes the Iron Man suit in that cave.
Yeah.
I think a suit of armor is a perfect juxtaposition to weapons. Weapons, they're made to kill. Armor is made to protect.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yes,
I didn't even think about that. That's very clever.
So he makes this suit, and there's a very good scene where clearly those terrorists come to realize that he's not making their missile.
Yeah.
And they storm in. They essentially threaten Jensen.
They do, yeah.
And this is probably the first time Tony has ever actually properly saved a human being.
Literally.
Yeah.
I mean, previously in the movie, he says that, our company has done so much for people, for hospitals, our bypass and all that stuff. He talks about this, but he only talks about it as in a statistic, not as in like a physical thing.
Literally, yeah.
This point in Tony's life, this is the first person he really saves.
Literally. Mm-hmm. And it's a great scene as well because...
And it's simple.
Yeah.
There's no guns or anything.
Mm-hmm.
He's just... Jensen is on the verge of being hurt seriously and Tony steps in.
I believe it's like... They were about to burn him with like one of those...
An iron coal they were going to stuff into his mouth.
Yeah, like it's... Oh, that would have been like insanely... Like that would have left scars like... Yeah.
So that happens and then Tony essentially says that he needs his assistance.
He does, yeah.
And they gradually start building the Iron Man suit, which I think we should at least talk about the design a bit of this suit.
I love it. Absolutely.
For the first suit, it's incredible.
I love it. Now, again, I know it's a nod back to the very first Iron Man suit, which was in the comics.
Yes.
I believe. And I just think it was a perfect way they brought it into live action.
Using Harrington's editing skills, we're just going to show an image of it right now.
Exactly, yeah. And but literally, like I think everything. I just love how unfinished it looks. It looks so like unpolished.
Even at the back, you see like there's like
it's like
it's like the hood of a truck on the back.
It's like the hood of a truck. It's
I
just
mean,
so...
what would you expect? It's built in a cave with a box of
scraps.
Yeah, literally. And I love, but I think that's really perfect because it just shows, like what's to come later. This is just the beginning step of what's to become. And despite that, though, like it still packs a punch. I mean, he breaks out with fully armed guards and everything, like pretty much with ease. And even with the one of the guards, I think, shoots him in the head and just bounces back.
Yeah.
Like it just goes to show the strength of it, like the strength of the suit.
I also want to point out in filming.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. really liked wearing that suit.
Oh, I'd say he did, man.
He did say it was very cumbersome in that suit, but he just liked how like awesome it made him feel.
Yeah.
So I should point out there's a period where they have to essentially. It's hinted at that the suit has a very basic computer in it that allows it to move.
Yeah.
And they have to get it started up, and it takes a while to get started up. So Jensen buys some time.
He does.
After Tony escapes, he finds Jensen, who's been severely wounded.
He does.
And Jensen essentially says, go out and save people. And it's a very poignant scene because this is the first person that Tony ever saved ends up dying by the weapons that Tony created. Which is
Pretty
even
much.
more poignant. Like the fact that he sees the life drained from someone.
I know, yeah.
I mean, like
it's actually a very touching scene. It's a very touching scene because I believe Jensen as well says my family's dead.
Yeah,
and
even
I'm
though
joining
previously
them.
he said that his family was alive.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a way to prevent Stark from feeling sorry for him.
Exactly, yeah. And again, it's a really touching scene for his character and just for overall Tony's growth. Like again, I believe it's like I'm quoting Avatar now, but like when one life ends, another life begins. You know, it really gives that kind of message across. You know, that scene.
And what I kind of love, this might sound weird, but I kind of love how he doesn't just fly off after saying goodbye to Jensen. There's still a lot of fight to go left.
Yeah,
in it.
There is, yeah.
So
like I feel if he defeated everyone and just flew off without Jensen, it might have almost nullified the sort of kind of poignancy of it, like Donald was talking about. But the fact that he leaves Jensen because he still has to escape and there's still terrorists he has to fight.
Exactly.
Like I feel that works really, really well. It doesn't feel like he's just abandoning him to go home.
Mm-hmm. So I also want to point out there's a very cool effect when the arc reactor from the chest lights up, and then you can see it every time the suit gets close to someone in the cave, you can see the light. I just thought that was a nice touch.
No, that was a very nice touch. Yeah.
We see at the very another iconic scene where the Mark I walks out of the cave, walks out from the cave to the camp, and they're all just looking at him. They start shooting at him, and of course it doesn't happen. It's a miracle no one shoots him in the eye, even because he doesn't have any eye protection.
That's something actually I never realized before. In the Mark I suit, there's no eye protection.
There's barely any protection.
Yeah, there's barely any protection, which is something I actually never realized until now, like rewatching the film.
There's massive gaps. His hands aren't protected. Yeah, his legs are barely protected. His
hands are just like, I think, insulated gloves, aren't they? Like, so it's just
welding gloves,
literally. So it's just it really like shows.
I mean, there's a scene before he puts the armor on. It's shown that he puts like a welding suit on, and he gets like a neck. He gets like a neck brace, like a leather neck brace.
Yeah.
He sort of like puts which in reality would make sense. I mean, you wouldn't want, like, I think the suit in the movie, it's supposed to be like, well, it's iron, so it's supposed to be what, like 50 not pounds, but like I'd say like half a ton.
It's heavy.
Yeah,
it's heavy. We'll just say it's heavy.
It's very heavy. But as he comes out, he thankfully isn't hurt, and he decides to go ahead and say, "My turn," and just torches them all.
Oh,
I think those fire effects were just so sick, man.
It's very dirty looking fire.
It is, yeah.
It looks like it's from crude oil.
Literally, yeah, it does. It looks like from just crude for oil, and I'd say that was real flamethrowers they used.
I mean, at that point, CGI wasn't that good at making fire effects.
No, it wasn't. Like, so I'd say that was real fire they used for that film. It would. I hope it was, because it looks so badass.
Mm-hmm.
It looks so.
There's a good. So he burned, and I want to point out, he makes an effort to burn all the Stark weapons, even when everyone is fleeing and he's not a threat anymore. He just keeps burning them.
Yeah, it's a nice touch. It's a very nice little touch.
And then we get a scene where he like flicks a button on his wrist, and he just goes flying into the air.
Yeah.
And then halfway into his flight, his engine's cut out, and he falls to the ground.
Oh,
and by a miracle, he survives.
By a miracle, man.
So after all that happens, Tony just leaves it in the desert. And he walks for probably an unknown number of days, and he gets picked up by his friend Rhodey.
Yeah.
And
it feels like more like 2 minutes, but yeah. Probably was hours, I'd say.
Or even days.
Maybe, it could have been days as well, yeah. God.
But he's saved, and he's brought back to the US, and you can tell immediately he's very different.
Oh, very different. Sure, I think even Stain says a line later in the film to Pepper, like, you know, he was so delighted that Tony came back, but like a bit of Tony died in that cave. And it's just,
It's like he talks about how he wants a burger.
Yeah.
Which is a very funny thing to me, because I found out that whole burger scene was ad-lib, because when after RDJ got out of prison, the first thing he ate was a burger, Burger King meal, and it was so crap it convinced him to go sober.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
So we get to that point, and we go from that. It's clear that Stain is kind of, when they show up to the press conference, Stain is inserting himself. He's like saying, "Oh, look, Tony's here. He's fine. Look at him." He's trying to show himself as being like the kind, individual.
Yeah. That's another thing I love about it. Like, Stain almost looks like, in public, the really nice guy. Like, he looks like the really nice guy, but later on, again, we'll get more to it, but again, we find it out he has other intentions. It reminds me a lot almost of kind of the same vibes that like Lotso Huggenbear had.
Yeah,
in, like,
yeah.
Toy Story 3,
great.
like you think he's all friendly. He's like the friendly grandfather kind of character.
Jeff
just to
Bridges
realize
didn't voice Lotso, did he?
No, I don't think
No,
he did.
the actor for Lotso died back in 2020, I think.
Oh.
Was it? Oh, the creator. Yeah, I actually don't know who it was though. But
Yeah.
But anyway,
You might not want to include this in the video because it's unrelated, but Lotso has been leaked to come back in Toy Story 5.
I heard about that actually. Yeah. He's
Anyway,
making a
let's
comeback, yeah.
keep focused.
all right. We'll think about it if we should keep it or not. Then we get to this press conference scene. It's the first time Coulson shows up.
It is the very first time Coulson shows up.
A fan favorite. People love him. He was literally just like, I think he was made up for the movies, and at least I think he was made up.
I'm actually not too sure. He might have been the
But
comics. Again,
I found out
if we find out, we'll put it in an image here if he
Yeah.
was in the comics or not.
But I found out during my research. Originally, Coulson was supposed to have a very minor put in the movie, but because the actor who played him, he had such great chemistry with the cast, they gave him extra scenes.
They did. And I'm glad they gave him extra scenes too, because like, I know this is going to sound funny now, but like, when you watch this film now, especially if you see all the other MCU films, like Coulson's just there in the background, like he's trying to say to Tony Stark so much, like, hey, the Shield, we want to start this Avengers, division. We just want to start this, and he just keeps getting shut out.
Yeah,
he keeps getting shut out. It's actually quite funny now looking back. Again, like back when this film came out in 2008, no one knew like that was going to happen. But it's really funny for now. But yeah.
So the whole conference thing happens, and this is Tony's part to really put. He says some very poignant things. He says that he never said goodbye to his father when he died.
Did,
which I feel like that's almost like an emotional, unintentional blurt out of his emotions.
Oh yeah, definitely, without a doubt.
Because
he says it in public, like to everyone in the press conference.
He's like very emotional.
And the fact that maybe I'm reading too deep into it, but the fact that he said that just there implies it wasn't public knowledge.
Yeah.
I see. It probably wasn't. Yeah, you're probably right in that.
Considering like Tony,
I don't even think we find. Oh, sorry, Donald. I don't even think we found out how it happened. Like exactly, how the whole thing went until Civil War.
Yeah,
the thing was
true.
In the beginning with newspaper articles, they did say that something about. We were talking about the press conference. Then he talks about how he believes his weapons are being used unfairly. He talks about how people are dying, and he drops the bombshell saying that effective immediately Stark Industries no longer making any weapons. And immediately Stain says, no, let's not talk about that now.
Literally, like, it's just Stain's pure mentality is, profit over, people.
I know it's very subtle, but I love how his kind of speech keeps going even after the transition.
Yeah, I love that, yeah.
Yeah.
So, this happens, it's... There is points people saying, is he crazy or something? Is he gone crazy?
Yeah.
There's a good scene afterwards where Tony is at the Stark reactor. Jeff Bridges Stain shows up. He's on a Segway. God, this movie is so 2000s.
Yeah, the Segways.
And then we get the Ironmonger name is dropped.
It is, yeah. But
it's very subtle, but it's like... It's great foreshadowing. It's another thing that I was talking about earlier. It just makes this film even more impressive to watch like a second or third time.
It almost reminds me like the subtlety of the line. It reminds me a bit like I don't think you've seen Lord of the Rings, Nat, have you?
No, I haven't.
No, but I remember in the first one, there's like a scene where Bilbo, like when he has the ring and he's like stroking, it's like, but it's mine, my own, my precious. And he actually drops the my precious line. It's such a foreshadow to Gollum. It's just like it's really cool. Like, yeah.
So they're talking about this. There is the point as well where I got from this. Tony has a sling around his arm.
He does, yeah.
I think that sling is just to help to hide the arc reactor in his chest.
That's actually a very interesting point. I never caught that.
You know,
Yeah,
when
probably
when I
was,
was watching
yeah.
it, I was wondering why he had it, because he didn't break his arm when he got out of the suit.
No, he
surprisingly
didn't,
enough,
yeah.
but that's a good observation.
Because
That's
the
very
arc reactor
interesting.
does glow up under his clothes, as we see,
Yeah.
like, in other Marvel films, we see the arc reactor through his chest, the lights.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
see even through the suit,
He
you can
even has
probably
it out.
see it.
He even has it out in public in the start of Infinity War, if I remember correctly.
He does, yeah. He is out in public, like again, like, so it just goes to show,
Mm-hmm. So they talk about how, of course, considering the fact they're American businessmen, they have to talk about the stocks.
They do, of course.
They
yeah.
talk about how maybe Tony's antics might infect them. And then we smash cut to an almost like American Mad TV type thing where it's like, it's called Mad Money. I don't know if this was a real thing in the 2000s, but it's like this over the top like presenter. He's hitting buttons and making sound effects.
Man, it's such a 2000 scene.
Gosh,
it's so 2000s. But at the same time, I do like these little 2000s kind of like quirks this movie has, because it gives the film, I think, that sense, like, oh yeah, like the MCU's been going for so long, things have changed, how to put this, the times have changed over the years, and I think that's cool. I think it's really cool to see, that growth,
But like I said in the beginning, Jon Favreau wanted this film to feel grounded, and throwing these little things like talking about MySpace, talking about tech of the time, even though it does date the movie, it does bring this into a period that we can immediately identify of. And after that whole funny scene of like the guy smashing the mug and pretending it to be like the Stark Industries docks, we get the very gross scene of the whole chest.
Oh god, I was dreading this.
That's one of my favorite scenes in the whole film.
I'm gonna stay out of this. I'm not even talking about it.
Yeah, it's a very, even though we don't see anything, the sounds.
Just the squelch sounds.
It's something out of a fucking cartoon.
Yeah, it almost looks like something like out of those like surgery programs and like TLC or something like that, and they show like the detailed surgery. It's just
so we're gonna skip right over that.
Yeah, just one little thing I like to point out though about that scene. It's very interesting to see like how deep the arc reactor was into his body.
Can we just move on from that, because it's gross.
Yeah.
But I also want to point out, it is a very wholesome scene between Pepper and Tony. Like, it's at the beginning when we see Pepper, she's clearly just like, Tony's secretary, doesn't care about her.
Yeah, she doesn't even remember her birthday.
Yeah, there's clearly a connection forming between the two.
Yeah.
Not in the sense like, oh, they fall in love. It's almost like an acknowledgement that they're like almost similar in a sense.
Literally, yeah.
So we go through this, and then there's a scene where Tony meets up with Rhodey, and I also want to point out that in that scene, he's talking to some Air Force personnel. All those guys he was talking to were real Air Force personnel, and actually after they finished filming this scene, those guys went straight over to Iraq.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. I never even knew that information. Genie, Mac.
Yeah, so they like, it's very, I do like the fact that he chose to introduce like all this like military stuff, because it's a good juxtapose to Tony's vision at this point now.
Yeah.
Is also, I think it's a very interesting that thing happens in this scene. Rhodey says that Tony needs to get his head on straight.
He does, yeah.
But he says it in the way that he says almost like, Tony, just start building weapons again.
Literally, yeah, because I feel like, and again, because not just with Stain, but with Rhodey needs Tony.
Mm-hmm.
He needs Tony for weapons, and because I believe in the MCU at this point, like, Stark Industries is the biggest weapon supplier for the whole US military at this point in time with this film. So, yeah, like if Tony stops making weapons and stops manufacturing them, they're going to be without weapons pretty much, unless they turn to some other company which they probably don't even have, I'd say, at this point.
True. As we go, after this, Tony starts work on the Mark II. And I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, I prefer the Mark II over the Mark III.
Oh,
Really?
no, I gotta disagree.
Wow.
It's a cool suit. I don't get me wrong. I do think it's a cool
I
suit.
like how bulky it is. I
I
don't like the streamline of the Mark III.
it is bulky a bit, but is it that bulky? I don't know.
I think the only reason I like the Mark II is because
Yeah.
the Mark II turns into the War Machine.
That's true. It turns into the War
And
Machine.
honestly, the War Machine is my favorite.
Oh, the War Machine's a very cool suit. Yeah, do you know it's kind of funny because I remember watching like as a child before. I never saw Iron Man 2 in cinemas as a child, but I remember like them advertising War Machine. I thought War Machine was the villain because the red eyes. There was like the eyes
Yeah.
were red and the arc was red. I just thought like meant
did you think
evil,
he
like
was- did you think he was like Iron Man's Venom or something?
something like that. Yeah, like pretty much as a child. But yeah, but no. But I'm so glad he's
Eddie.
not.
Eddie, I've turned into a tin can, Eddie.
But
So-
again, yeah.
He starts work on the Mark II. A nice look of it is like it shows the inner workings, sort of how he's designing it.
Yeah.
There's a funny scene where he starts testing. He does the first test flight,
He does.
where essentially he just slingshots himself off the floor and into a wall.
Oh man, such a funny scene. How he didn't get broken bones after that, we'll never know.
Excuse me.
Bless you. More detail about how the design is. After this happens, eventually gets to the point where Tony makes the Mark I suit properly, and it's fully realized. There's a great scene where all the panels start shifting and locking into place and all that stuff.
We do, yeah.
Yeah, and I also want to point out the CGI animators of this movie, they actually learned a bit about engineering for this movie because Jon Favreau wanted the Iron Man suit to look realistic.
And it does look very realistic in this film. I actually really love the way, you know, all the like plates and gears come
I love
together.
on the Mark
They
II
do
you can see the rivets.
You do, yeah. You see the rivets in the Mark II, which is it's just it's very small, it's very subtle, but it just gives that more sense of realism to the suit. And again, I just think the MCU's version of the Iron Man suit, especially from Iron Man 1, I think has to be my favorite Iron Man suit ever because it just looks like compared to the comics from like the 1960s, the Iron Man suit. Well, it doesn't look bad.
Even all the way up to the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, even away to the 90s or 2000s. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but like it does not look very real. It looks very
Skin tight.
Like skin. Yeah, it looks skin tight. That's the word. Like even the abs and everything. There's like abs on it. It's just like it's like why? Like again, I know it's just a common superhero trope, but like they really just make this like look like a proper suit of iron.
I think one thing we will also agree on is that the soundtrack in this movie is amazing.
Oh
man.
Slaps, man. Absolutely.
The rock
slaps.
music is a perfect fit.
It's a perfect fit for
I was
Tony.
talking about that a little bit
Stark.
earlier, but I love how, like, especially in the flying scene, I'll go into it later, but that is my favorite scene in the whole MCU, him just doing that test flight.
Definitely,
You know,
yeah.
and just, I feel the soundtrack is so kind of uplifting, especially when he recovers the suit after the icing problem. It's just so, it really kind of feels like the hero's beginning. Sorry, man, the cat's my allergies. I can still record, though, don't worry about it.
So I also want to point out we get the iconic Tony scream, the Tony Stark scream that he does when he's fallen.
Yeah.
They reuse that several times in Marvel, which is funny.
God.
It's like the Marvel's version of the Wilhelm scream.
Essentially,
Yeah.
So after this, after he's like clearly injured and all that stuff, there's a very nice scene where Pepper gives him. When does Pepper give him the box? Well, the present?
She gives it to him when he's working on the suit, but he doesn't open it until after the test flight.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
After the test flight, he opens it and it says proof that Tony Stark has a heart.
Oh, and it's just such a nice, kind gesture, like, you know, from
Like,
Pepper.
Like, even ignoring the fact that it becomes essential in the final act of this movie, I really just
Yeah.
think it is a really nice scene.
And a really nice scene, yeah.
So after that, Tony is doing like work on the suit, and then he sees on the TV that there's like a ball that is like, I think it's the fireman's ball they call it.
The fireman's ball, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a fundraising show, and he says, and Turns out he didn't get an invite, so he
He
decides to crash the party.
Just crash the party, man, as you do.
And we get, now I was wrong in this last one we did. We get Stanley's proper first cameo in the MCU.
That is true, yeah, and it's just so subtle. He like calls him like Hefner or something like that.
Hugh Hefner.
Hugh Hefner, like, is he a real person, Hugh Hefner?
Yes, Hugh Hefner was the owner of Playboy magazine.
Oh my god, that's
Yeah.
funny you because that's actually true because I think even in Iron Man 2 as well, Stan Lee's cameo, he pretends to be Larry King.
Larry King.
Yeah, which is just so funny. Like they pretend
It's
to
a
be
blink
these
and you
real
miss it
people, like, a
moment.
blink and you miss a moment. Like, but again, such a funny cameo.
Coulson shows up again.
He does show up.
He's clearly still trying to get to talk. Yeah, he's still trying to talk about it.
Oh
But
man,
he's distracted by Pepper, who I will point out, she's very nice hair at this point.
she does. Yeah.
I don't give a crap about her dress. I think her hair is very nice.
Well, no, but she's made to look a lot more like attractive. Like
I think more relaxed than
relaxed. Yeah, exactly. Relaxed. I mean,
as the old thing. Let your hair down.
Let your hair down. That's it.
But it's a very nice scene where it's like, I think this is probably one of the very few times Tony actually has a proper full human conversation with someone.
That is true
in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, he isn't like suave with his words or anything. He stumbles over them.
He does stumble over them, yeah. And he's even a little bit awkward around her, like.
Yeah.
Like, his dancing is very awkwardly around her. And, like, she's actually even a lot more relaxed than Tony is.
Mm-hmm.
Which is something I never really noticed. I remember watching this film before. I always thought, like, Pepper was the more kind of awkward one. And even though she admits that she found it very awkward, she was kind of very,
she was open to it being awkward.
Yeah, being open to, she was open to it. Unlike Tony, who was very... he even said I'd go out for fresh air, and she's like, "Yeah, I just go out too as well." It's a nice scene showing Tony's growth.
So we get a scene after that where Tony is going to get Pepper a drink, and the reporter shows up to him.
Yeah,
and she scolds him for not remembering his name.
Yeah,
but then she shows pictures of his missiles in a village. And the village that is in was actually Jensen's village.
That's true, yeah.
I love how that's not even pointed out explicitly, but you can like just tell from Tony's facial expressions that really irked him.
Exactly, it's
because
perfect,
he thought he destroyed them. He thought he destroyed them.
Yeah.
And then it's because because he felt that he destroyed them, and then these missiles show up.
Yeah.
He puts two together and realizes that Stark Industry is selling to both sides, essentially.
Pretty much, yeah.
And he confronts Stain about it, and Stain essentially says, "Hey, who do you think was the person who ordered your killing?"
Literally.
And Stain says it in a way as like, "You clearly can't do anything," because at this point Tony has no power in the board.
Pretty much,
like that.
Yeah.
He gets kicked off. He essentially loses all his power, and this anger he has now, he decides to take it out on the terrorists. There's a nice scene where he's listening to the news report, which is probably the first time he's really taking like information about all this stuff happening.
Yeah.
And you can see he's like almost tightening something about one of his gauntlets, and you can tell he's just so angry. He's
literally,
you can't see in his face, but when he's like pulling his arm, he's like gripping the screwdriver really hard.
Yeah, it's just a perfect scene of anger, and he even starts like destroying bits of his house as well. And
I
everything.
took that in because he destroys the mirror.
The mirror,
not the mirror, the glass.
The
I
glass.
took that as in like Tony Stark finally removing the last vein of his old self from it.
I see. Yeah, that's a very interesting point. Yeah,
he like gets rid of his last like original self, like the warmonger. And now decides to be a peacemaker.
Yeah.
The suit I have to talk about the iconic suit up scene, which has never been topped in my opinion.
Oh man, it's just perfect. It's literally perfect. I think it's this might be a bold stretch, but I think it's one of the most like epic superhero suit up scenes.
Because like I said, the CGI guys, film. The CGI workers, like artists, they took like engineering lessons. So all of this, the way it screws in, the way it locks together, there's nothing clipping through anything. It's all melding together as it should.
It's like one big, massive invention.
Kind of reminds me. It's funny because these two films came out the same year. The animators for Kung Fu Panda actually took Kung Fu lessons.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of funny, yeah.
But that just shows you the fact that the animators know what they're doing.
exactly.
It makes it even better.
It's like dedication. They actually took the dedication for this film.
Yeah.
I also want to point out that there are inspections on the Mark III. You can see Tony's hand fingerprints on the mask when it comes down.
Oh my God, I never knew that.
No,
Never noticed
they
that.
did.
That's cool.
That's the level of detail
Yeah.
they were putting into that
Wow.
suit.
That's really cool. I love that. Like little imperfections like that just make it pop out even more. It makes it feel more real.
I also want to point out the way that the mask looks. It looks like an angry face.
It
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
Not like the
yeah.
emoji, like oh funny, but like it looks like a scolding angry face.
It does look
and
angry.
it's
like,
for
yeah.
me, I feel like it's a projection. The suit is Tony's projection of his anger.
It is, yeah, projection of it, yeah. And again, that's another thing I love about the facial structure of the mask. It just looks, you could tell it is like the Iron Man look from the comics, but just better, more
Yeah.
improved. Like I feel like the comic book expression was just emotionless. It was just like
It's a scowl.
yeah, it's just a skull. But like in the movie, like it looks, as what you said, like a scowl. It's more like it gives a lot more emotion,
Mhm. So Tony goes to where the missiles are being kept.
Yeah.
But first he makes a stop at another village to save some people. And it's a very poignant scene because he saves a father, and while his son watches.
Yeah.
And I think that's even more poignant because Tony never got a chance to say goodbye to his father or anything like that. And one of his first acts is to save a group of people and save a father
Mhm.
and a son from losing his father.
That whole scene in general, I think, is just epic. That whole scene when it starts off from there, and then he blasts off into the air, and then like what is it? The tank tries to shoot him down.
Yeah.
Shoots him down for a split second, and then he just looks
Gets
back.
back up.
Destroys the tank in one
Wow.
hit.
Joke's
it.
on you. I'm
Yeah,
resilient.
And then like that, when he walks back and the tank blows up,
And then
it's
the
just
guitar riff
perfect.
hits.
Yeah, it's just perfect. It's one of the best scenes in the whole MCU,
Mhm.
honestly. Like, yeah.
So after he destroys the missiles, he thinks it's all done. But he fails to take into account that the military was watching the whole situation.
That's
Oh
true.
dear God, this is where it really gets wild.
So Rhodey calls Tony whilst he's in the suit, and Tony is in a very funny way trying to play off the fact that he's out of breath, and he's currently flying like about 10,000 feet in the air,
Yeah.
and he's like, and then the fighter, like jet fighters, find him, and he tries to evade them, and it's a very interesting scene. It's almost comical in a way.
Yeah.
Especially that scene where Tony calls Rhodey again, and Rhodey says like, "Oh, who is this?" You almost like
Yeah.
making fun of him, and then Tony just belts out, "It's a suit, and I'm in it."
Yeah.
And then we see a very good scene where like the jet turns to one side, and you see him hanging on underneath,
You do, yeah.
and they say, "Shake him off." They shake him off, but in the process, Iron Man goes clear through one of the wings of the fighters.
Yeah.
And this also shows another point that Tony is focusing on saving people.
He is, yeah.
The pilot, he ejects, but his chute doesn't work. So Tony directly goes after him, even though there's a threat of him being shot
There is.
by the
yeah.
fighter. He goes down to try and save him.
He does.
And he does save him.
Yeah, and he does save him, yeah.
As that happens, you also see there's also a funny point where Tony is going to try and explain it, and then Rhodes cuts him out. He's like, "No, it's better if I don't know it."
Yeah.
And after that happens, Tony says, "Just make up something about being a training exercise." And Rhodey says, "It's not that simple." Immediate cut to Rhodey saying, "So yesterday there was a flight test."
Yeah. There's a lot of that in this film, like, again, like, with Marvel films now, like, even, I'm just going to say after the first Iron Man film, everyone, the whole world knew Tony Stark was Iron Man and all this, but in this film, no one knew who or what this Iron Man was.
I think I should also point out...
They're trying to cover it up, like...
I think I should also point out, I meant to point this out at the beginning, the script for this movie actually wasn't fully done when they started shooting.
Oh, really?
So many of the lines in this movie are ad-libbed.
Yeah, but I kind of like that too, because sometimes some films that are like some lines that are ad-libbed in films usually tend to be like so iconic.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
So after all this happens, we get another funny scene where after this is done, Tony is in his basement garage. He's in his garage trying to take the suit off. It's kind of hinted at that it's a funny scene, and he's like, it's struggling to be taken off.
Yeah, and just Pepper walks in,
and he just looks at it and says, "Let's be honest, this isn't the most craziest thing you've caught me doing."
Honestly, given the opening of the film, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, like it's such a nod to the opening, dude. It's hilarious. Oh man.
But I think, did I point this out about the suit, that it was being hard to be taken off because of the bullet holes in it?
Yeah,
I think
you
it was.
mentioned
Yeah,
that
the
because
bullet holes.
we were watching it before this. Yeah, I like to believe that too. You know, I refuse to believe Tony would have made that mistake on his own, given how intricately it was designed. I do think it was probably just bullet holes or just damage that was making it hard to
pretty
come
much.
off.
Yeah.
So after that scene, we get an immediately tonal shift to Stain arriving at the camp of the terrorists.
Yeah.
And he's like, he talks to the leader of the terrorists. He's sort of like, clearly becomes interested in the suit they find. I mean, who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't? Yeah.
And he looks at it, and essentially the terrorist says, "We'll give you this as a gift, and in return, we'll give us an army of soldiers." And Stain's response is to paralyze him with some sort of sonic thing.
Literally, yeah. And you pointed out that was the same sound technology that was used for the Hulk.
Yes.
In the Incredible Hulk. Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That they decide to kind of tie that in.
Mm-hmm. There's another scene after that where essentially they show really how evil Stain is by ordering his men to kill all the terrorists.
They do.
I mean, it is not that bad he's killing terrorists, but at the same time he's clearly not a good fella. But after this, we get Tony is going through all his stuff. He's making more plans for the suit.
Mm-hmm.
Pepper shows up, and Tony essentially says, "Hey, can you go and steal some files from the company?"
Yeah.
And he then tells Pepper that he believed he should have died in the cave.
Yeah.
Which is it's like, people, they say, they do hint at this movie that he does have PTSD. I think he does.
Yeah. Without a doubt,
he doesn't address it.
Without a doubt, he has PTSD. I mean, you see what he goes through. They literally implant a battery into his heart.
Yeah.
How would you not be traumatized after that? And even the whole opening the film, I'm going to say it straight out. As a child, the whole opening of the film to me felt like a climax.
Yeah.
It felt like a climax. It really felt like a climax at the beginning of a film. And, you don't really see that often in movies. And I think it's very interesting.
And I know this is kind of going on a big aside. I honestly feel if it was a short film that ended after, Tony escaped the cave, I think it would have been just as amazing.
I think so too. I definitely agree in that. As you said, the first act of the film, just the first opening scene, really, the first half an hour of the film.
It feels like a movie within a movie.
Yeah, it feels like a movie within a movie. And I think that's really, really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree, 100%. So when Tony tells the whole thing, he believes he should have died, now he wants to do the fact that he wants to set things right. Pepper, at first, she doesn't go along with it, but then she does go along with it, so she decides to go and steal the files. It's during this that she first discovers Ironmonger, the designs of it, and then she discovers that Stain ordered the terrorists to kidnap Tony. Yeah. And then there's a very amazing scene where Jeff Bridges shows his acting and shows why he's amazing. He comes in and he clearly knows that Pepper is going through it, but he decides just to string her along.
Oh man, it's such an intense scene. It's such a tense scene. It's it almost reminds me of a scene in another film. Oh, I'm trying to think. Actually, no, I'm just the first thing that comes to my mind with that scene. It reminds me of the scene of Martin Lee and Spider-Man and Spider-Man PS4 when Peter Parker finds out who Martin Lee is.
You're right.
And there's a really big tension there,
is that
he's
the scene
aware
where Martin Lee shows up with May?
Yeah, he shows up and it's oh, it's so intense, but again, it's just a really, really cool scene. It just goes, it's the perfect moment when it's the hero and the villain know, oh yeah, we know each other's secrets, but we can't share them in public, or we can't
it
share
also
them
kind of reminds me of the dinner scene in Up with Charles Muntz.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's
Oh,
another good
you're
like
right.
comparison. Yeah, it's very very similar. Like just full of tension and like oh my gosh, like am I gonna get out of here? Like literally. Like.
But I feel like it's interesting though, because in this case with Obadiah and Pepper, like this. Oh my god, voice crack! That voice crack was insane. No, I don't think there's anything he could realistically do to her and get away with.
Yeah,
It's just the idea of him getting that information is just as terrifying.
It
though.
is.
I mean, that's
yeah.
true. I mean, like if Stain at least tried to hurt Pepper, Tony would come full force, like hammer to the ground.
Well,
And also, Coulson had the meeting with her. He was waiting downstairs for her. They addressed that in when she's getting out of the
they
building.
did. Yeah,
And he tells him, "You're coming with me right now."
Yeah,
At least he would have noticed that something was amiss. If
he would have. Yeah,
I do
he
like
missed it.
There's a little scene as well. There's a little hint from Coulson's actor when Pepper tells him to come with her. He's almost like confused, like, "What's going on?"
What's going on?
Well, I do like the idea of his like cool demeanor almost slipping in a sense when he's not like intended for it to happen.
Literally, yeah.
But after that happens, we get the very iconic scene which has been memed to oblivion. The part where Stain walks in, gets angry at the scientist, and all together,
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps. Well, sorry, sir. I don't have a cave or a box of scraps.
I'm not Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Funny thing as well, the guy who he shouts at is the executive producer of this movie.
Really? Well,
I thought he was the lead writer. I didn't know. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he came back as well for Spider-Man No Way Home as
Yeah.
well for like Mysterio's technology he helped make, which is that was just so unexpected, and it was really funny though at the same time.
Kind of hilarious that Obadiah walking in on Pepper in that scene was the catalyst for literally everything that happened in No Way Home.
Yeah.
True.
Oh my gosh. And sorry, I made a mistake there. He didn't come back for No Way Home. It was Far From Home.
Yeah,
Far
From
From
Home.
Far From Home. Yeah.
That's the problem when you have titles that are similar.
Very similar. Yeah.
But after that, when it's clear, Stain, he has the suit. He has the Ironmonger suit ready. He just can't get the Stark reactor small enough
Yeah.
to power it. So there's another good
Did
scene.
you call it the Stark reactor?
Arc reactor, sorry.
I mean, it is a Stark reactor.
Arc, potato.
Yeah.
But there's also another good scene, which again shows Jeff Bridges' great acting skills, where he sneaks up to Tony in his house and uses the sonic device.
Yeah.
And he talks. You actually made a comparison.
Yes, he says it's his Ninth Symphony. That's I believe that's a legend in music, where after a composer writes their Ninth Symphony, they'll die.
Oh my goodness.
So when he was saying this is your Ninth Symphony, that means he knew that was his last invention before he died.
He rips it out of he rips Tony's arc reactor from his chest, which is a very even though it's not bloody, it's gruesome.
It's gruesome, yeah. It's very because it's the thing that's keeping him alive, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's
you can see the fear.
It's essentially part of his body.
Yeah, you can see the fear on Tony's face when it's pulled out.
Yeah,
because he's oh my god. So that happens and he leaves. At this point, Pepper informs Rhodey what's happening. She's with some agents, and we also get a sneak peek at the old SHIELD logo. It's very brief. We only see half of it.
Yeah.
But that was the SHIELD logo that was used for ages in the comics, in any type of media. It was only recently in the MCU they updated it.
Yeah.
But it was it was very cool because it was just, simple thing. Barely anyone would have noticed it. I didn't even notice that until we rewatched this.
Yeah.
And then to see where it's come from is
Pretty
very
much,
nice.
Yeah.
So whilst this is happening, Tony, with the willpower of a giant, is able to will his body down to his garage and crawl on the floor towards the old arc reactor he had
Oh my gosh,
that he replaced.
Something from Black Ops Zombies or something a crawling zombie.
Mm-hmm. But it's almost as a scene as though, like, Tony at the beginning says, like, "Oh, I should have died in that cave." It's almost at this point he realizes that he can't die, because
No,
if
he
he
can't
dies,
die.
more people will die.
Exactly, yeah.
So
yeah.
he's almost like he's like fighting, not because he wants to live, because he's fighting because if I don't live, people will die. And a very nice scene where he tries to grab it, but he can't, and he just at this point he looks as though he accepts his death. He's like, you know what, I just deserve this. He has that look on his face, it's like, I just deserve this, don't I? And then the little robot thing.
The robot.
The little
Doc
robot
Ock's
arms.
We didn't even touch on it earlier, but
Oh
that's
yeah,
a really
the little
good
like
payoff.
robots. Like these robots, they pop up randomly in the movie. They're sort of like his sidekicks.
Yeah,
he's kind of
nearly.
talking shit to them, and then they're what saves him, like, at the very end.
Literally, yeah. He says to one, I'm going to donate you to like a university. Like,
Yeah.
Which is like just an in joke, because like the universities always get like the shit.
the shit
stuff.
like stuff, yeah.
But thankfully Tony is able to get this into his chest.
Yeah.
He's able to like get himself sort of strength by the time Rhodey comes in and helps him up.
Literally,
Rhodey informs Stark that Pepper and some 5 agents are going to arrest Stain, and Tony says says a very good line saying, "That's not enough."
That's not enough, yeah.
And then there's a nice scene where he's suiting up, and it's a lot more fluid than the previous scene. Previous scene was really like all talking about this stuff. This is sort of like, okay, we need to get right through it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Rhodey says that it's the coolest thing he's ever seen.
Yeah.
And then he looks at the Mark II suit.
He looks at the Mark II after Tony flies through the hole of the roof he already made.
Yeah.
In his previous attempts with the Mark II. And it's clearly a hint at the fact that, Rhodey, War Machine, it could happen. It will happen.
Well, and we all know how that went.
Yeah. But as we go through this, there's a nice there. After that, the agents of Pepper show up to like the arc reactor plant.
They do, yeah.
And they find the room where all this is happening. And they eventually find Stain, and Stain is already in the suit. He's already in the Ironmonger.
He is. And I just want to point out the Ironmonger suit just looks so cool.
I want to point out a second thing. The way the Ironmonger introduced is mirrored the same way that the Mark I is introduced.
Literally, it's very mirrored, yeah.
The way that the arc reactor from its chest lights up.
Yeah, literally. And it's like, it's really like a very jacked up Mark I.
He's like, he's been going at like, I don't know, like protein bars for a while.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's been hitting the gym. So there is a scene where like he tries to catch Pepper. She manages to being able to run away even though she's in heels.
Yeah.
Which is funny. And then
I love how I love how it shows. It shows Ironmonger locking onto her, and yet he doesn't shoot. I kind of thought that was
was very funny. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Tony then is a good scene. Tony's going on. Jarvis, the AI, who's been throughout this movie. Very funny thing is that the guy who voiced Jarvis, he recorded his lines in 2 hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And still to this day has not seen the movie.
What?
Yeah.
He's never watched it. Oh my
He's
God.
never watched the
like,
first Iron Man.
He's the same actor who's played Vision as well.
Yeah.
Like, you think like he would have come back, but
Now
no.
that's some old facts. I don't know if he's eventually decided to watch it or he's seen parts of it, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's funny.
Yeah.
It's the same with me that I haven't seen Infinity War
Yeah.
to this day. No.
Oh my goodness, man.
We might.
Oh my gosh.
I guess we'll watch it for this.
And yet we're reviewing it. Yeah, for this channel, we're definitely going to be watching it, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. So we get to this. Pepper is like talking to Tony outside, and then Ironmonger, like the dead, rises from the ground.
He does, yeah. Really cool scene.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool scene.
And I want to point out Jeff Bridges' voice coming from the Ironmonger is so cool.
It's so cool. It's so menacing. Because like throughout the film,
it like completely distorts his voice. Whereas
yeah,
I love how it's almost like kind of representative of how the suit is just completely like controlling him.
Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
Whereas Tony's voice sounds exactly the same, even when he has the Mark.
Even when he has the Mark I. Yeah.
True.
All the suits, his voice always sounds the same.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Ironmonger's doesn't. It's
He doesn't,
not
yeah.
the same
I think it's
voice.
just
He even roars.
He even roars, yeah. I think it's just, again, it's another probably scene just to show, like, oh, he's just losing his humanity now. He's becoming more
Yeah.
this just titanium monster, like, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And after that, Tony manages to come in and essentially, what does he kick Ironmonger? He just like shoots him. He like pushes him through a wall.
Yeah.
Pushes him through a wall. We end up on like a highway scene,
Something like that,
which
yeah.
is a very nice scene. I do like this. It's very bare minimum, this fight. Like Tony does not have his like gadgets and doodads he has later on in the series. He's bare minimum. All he has is like his thrusters, his like flares, his repulsors. We do get a point where he this is the first time he uses his chest repulsor.
Yeah, which was a really cool scene again as well. I love how later on, like I believe in Civil War, like he uses it against the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And to destroy his arm, and it's just, oh man.
There's a good scene. I think I forgot to write down what Stain says, but he says something about, "For years I've been holding you up. Now I get to drag you down."
Oh, literally.
He's like, Jeff Bridges is doing such a good job of being like an awesome villain.
Literally.
Yeah.
I'm kind of annoyed he died at the end of this movie, because I kind of wish I would have seen him more.
Yeah, it would have been really cool to see more of his character, I feel, in the MCU, like, because I feel like he was just such a very good villain. And again, Jeff Bridges, amazing actor in everything he's in.
Of course.
And
yeah, like I said, my uncle actually got to meet him. He's
yeah, you said your uncle got to meet him in real life. That is so cool. And
my dad's older brother, to be specific.
Yeah.
So we have a nice fight scene. Very iconically, during the filming of this specific fight scene, there was a fan hiding out in one of the bushes.
Oh,
and
really?
Yeah, and he took a picture of the suit, and it got leaked online in 2007.
Wow.
A year before this movie.
Yeah.
And this might be skipping a bit forward, but like in the scene where like Tony Stark, after the fight, he's holding a newspaper. That picture that's on the newspaper is actually from that picture he took.
Wow.
It is.
Oh my gosh, that's so
crazy.
Of
That's
course,
crazy.
they added the CGI look to it, but that's what that is, and it's
holy cow.
I think that's a perfect way to like keep it all grounded. The idea of like this fan just taking a picture. Usually, the in this day and age, it would be like made sure to keep it offline and all that stuff. But the fact that they used it as in part of the movie was smart thinking.
It was very smart thinking. Yes, yeah.
So back to the fight scene. They managed to do a great thing where Tony is like, he uses his thrusters to go up, and then Drifter is just like, "You made improvements. I made improvements to myself," and he reveals that it can fly.
Yeah.
And there's a funny line that Jarvis says, like, "It appears that the suit can fly, sir."
Yeah, and just, oh my gosh, it's like that scene from the Red Scarf. They can fly now. They fly.
Yeah.
But just better.
Yeah, true.
Man.
And then in order to try and get one up on Ironmonger, Tony, he flies all the way to like, what is it, the edge of the atmosphere.
Yeah.
This is of course harking back to the Mark II, where he flew super high and there was an icing problem.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing happens to the Ironmonger.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is that Stain says in almost like in a shit-eating grin way, "My suit is improved in every way." And he says, "What about the icing problems?" And he's like, "Might want to look into it." And he just bonks him on the head.
Surely,
Also,
oh man.
I touched on this when we were watching it, but I love how that is the first time you see inside his helmet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is kind of...
I love as well a little detail where you see the inside of the technology in his helmet. It's red instead of the blue. Like Tony's again kind of pointing out, like, "Oh, red is bad." Like, you know.
True.
Yeah.
But and like you said, you thought that Ironmonger died.
Yeah. I'm gonna go into this. This is it's kind of a personal. I guess it can't be a Mandela effect if it was only me, but
Yeah.
it is something I misremembered about this movie. I vividly remember when I first saw this movie that the Killmonger died from the ice.
You mean
problem.
Ironmonger?
So, Killmonger is Black Panther.
Yeah.
Ironmonger died from the icing problem, and then it instantly cut to the scene of like Rhodey on TV.
Literally,
And
yeah.
that is what I remember this movie being. It was only when I watched it the second time. like with him crushing Tony's helmet and him falling into the arc reactor and Pepper shutting the arc reactor off. I remember none of that from my first viewing. I remember it shows Killmonger falling and then instantly cut to Rhodey. That is how I remember it going. I don't know if that was like a TV broadcast or maybe, I don't know, there were connection issues or something like that. But that is, I literally completely did not remember ever seeing the arc reactor thing.
Me neither, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember I was even sort of disappointed because I always thought, such a prominent oversight. Tony was able to overcome it on the fly, whereas, I was about to say Killmonger again.
Yeah.
Ironmonger just completely died from it. Just.
Mm-hmm. So, after that whole scene, Tony lands again. His arc reactor is like at what, 4% now?
4%, yeah.
Yeah.
I love that as well. Like the power keeps going down and down. Like
It
throughout
keeps
whole
the
fight.
tension going.
It keeps the tension going, exactly. Yeah.
And he lands down on the roof, and then Ironmonger is still there. And the problem is that Tony has already started to remove parts of his like armor
He
when
has,
Ironmonger returns. And there's a great scene where he throws Tony onto a skylight, shoots the skylight down. Tony's like hanging on, and Jeff Bridges says, "In the attempt to save the world from weapons, you gave it its best one yet."
Oh, great line.
Which, this might be me grasping at straws, but it also is like a heartening to Tony's eventual creation of Ultron.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's actually a great. Yeah, because again, like we see the amount of destruction that Ultron caused, like later on.
Yeah, and also on the topic of this, like the fact that this movie is all about Tony trying to prevent weapons.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost as if, like, is a constant theme. His attempt to prevent to prevent horrible weapons getting out, he makes even more destructive weapons.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's like
But I do think it kind of ties into what you talked about at the start. Like, weapons are made to kill, armor is made to protect.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the real difference between it. I don't see it as being hypocritical whatsoever. The weapons were made to destroy. He made the suit, the Iron Man suit, to protect people.
But I guess
we even see that later on with the Iron Spider suit, and even I forgot the Iron Legion existed as well at one point.
Yeah,
that's true.
I guess though, like what Don's saying here though is that like the Ironmonger suit, like when it gets into the wrong hands, such as stain, it becomes a mass weapon of destruction.
I mean, like look at it. Think of it as like a hammer. A hammer by a workman is a tool, but a hammer by like
a lunatic
is a weapon.
Yeah.
It just depends on who's using it.
Exactly.
After the whole very good fight scene where Pepper takes forever to hit the button.
Yeah.
She does this a lot in these movies.
Okay, do you want to know what I hate? I love how they say his targeting system is off, and that's why he can't hit Tony. Like, really? That's just so. That's one thing I don't like.
Yeah,
that feels a bit stupid.
I can understand that.
We've got to reach that time mark in the movie, I suppose.
This is a 2-hour movie. What the fuck?
Yeah.
So after all that stuff, Jeff Bridges, like you said, falls into the arc reactor and is vaporized.
Yeah, which is a very dark scene.
Mm-hmm.
Surprisingly, very, very dark. Condensed because again, like I think you even see him unconscious. I don't see unconscious or is he dead? Like just before
I think
he falls
he's
in.
unconscious.
Yeah, he's like unconscious when he like falls in, and then like just boom, then like and oh my god.
Or they could do the thing where he was like transported to another realm.
Which that's right.
They did that. They've done that a few times in this franchise.
They have, like Ant-Man, Quantumania. Oh my gosh!
I dread that the day we're gonna have to review that.
And who knows? The way the MCU is going, they might probably do that eventually with Stain. Like, if they really run out of ideas.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so
I'd hate if they actually no. I know this is going very off into speculation territory, but I'd really hate if they brought him back.
I don't think they will.
Because,
I don't think they will.
Because obviously Tony's dead, and Pepper isn't part of the MCU either, and neither is Rhodey. Is Rhodey still part of the MCU?
I mean, he is pretty much.
He showed up in.
I think
I just feel
I might be wrong because I'm a bit behind on the shows myself as time of recording, but apparently I think the last thing he appeared in so far was Secret Invasion.
Yes,
which was 2023.
I just feel bringing Ironmonger back would just feel like fan service. I feel like he he worked as a villain because he was in Iron Man.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Because he was
Yeah,
Tony's rival. I
exactly.
feel
Yeah.
trying to make him fight anyone else would just, I don't know, it just wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work.
I
Yeah.
agree with you there.
Yeah, and what does he even have to fight for anymore?
Pretty
he's
much.
a
Yeah.
fugitive. Stark Industries has been, kind of complete. Let's not be all doom and gloom. We've still
Yeah.
got a review to wrap
We're
up.
just about the end of this. After the whole thing happens, Shield essentially gives Tony Stark like idea of what he's doing. It's like, oh, you're on your yacht with like several like women.
Yeah, no,
you were having a great party and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then Tony, in a very nice wholesome scene, he says, "Why can't it just be me and Pepper on the yacht?"
Yeah, it's surprisingly very wholesome. Yeah.
I like the fact that it's just simple things like that. It's clearly shown that he's having a little bit of an attachment to Pepper.
Literally, yeah.
But as that happens, like he also says, like, "Oh yeah, Stain. We said Stain was on a holiday, and small commercial jets, they can be very precarious. They're not very so implying the line that the whole like idea of what happens to Stain is that he dies in a plane crash.
So yeah, it was just surprisingly very dark.
That might have also been another thing that contributed to me thinking he died from falling after the ice.
Probably might have been.
That was probably another thing that just made me think, oh, okay, they're trying to like vomit. That's probably another thing that just made me have that false memory.
Mm-hmm. So we finally get to the press conference. Press conference.
Yeah, you've said prep before, but I gotta help my
So we get to this, and it kind of just shows you how inept Tony can really be, because he's given stuff to follow and he can't even do that.
He just doesn't follow it at all.
He keeps bumbling through it.
You know what I find kind of interesting? They say no questions, and then like 10, not even 30 is too generous. 10 seconds in, he's asked a question.
Yeah, he's asked a question. Yeah,
It's just yeah.
and it's by I think the same reporter we saw earlier. Yeah,
And after that, he like attempts to like read the cards, and he says, "The truth is,
I am Iron Man."
And the guitar riff drops.
Yeah,
And the way to the MCU is on the full path steam ahead.
That's just one of the most iconic scenes.
And that was ad-libbed.
Yeah, it was. Was it ad-libbed?
It was ad-libbed.
Oh my gosh!
There was like a part of two scenes. There was a scene where he did like say like what was on the card, but that scene was an ad-lib, and they decided to keep that in, and it sort of like pushed this idea of like, do heroes in this day and age need secret identities?
Well, this film proved they don't.
No.
I feel when we watch this movie together, I feel I really agree with what you guys said. It doesn't feel like an ending, it feels like a beginning.
It does.
And the post-credit scene with Nick Fury talking about the Avengers really leans into that, I feel.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because that scene actually was meant to be longer. That scene with Nick Fury appears because he was actually going to mention about the mutants and radioactive spider bites.
Yeah,
which
but they didn't have the rights
They
yet.
didn't have the rights yet, so that's why they didn't add it in. Which it would have been cool to see that, but at the same time, I'm glad.
Was that going to tie into Sam Raimi's movies?
It was.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
it was going to tie into Sam Raimi's and the X-Men films from the 2000s as well.
Yeah, I haven't seen those, but I've seen Raimi all right.
But yeah, and
so yeah, that's
really
the
cool
end.
scene. That's it. Just a really cool scene that people thought was going to go nowhere at the start. They didn't get too excited, but then, as we saw with Incredible Hulk's post-credit scene, it was going ahead, and
so
we got more
before
films.
we like wrap up our ideas of what we think of this movie, I'm just going to get through the facts that I wrote down earlier. I already talked about like newspapers, several as I mentioned before. Big thing I want to point out: this was the last movie that Stan Winston worked on before his passing.
Was it?
Stan Winston?
Stan Winston was a very important figure in filmmaking. He is well known for his work on the Jurassic Park movies with his creature design.
Wow.
He was well known. His workshop is still working this day.
Oh
cool.
yeah, I know Jim Henson's as well.
Yeah. But he was like, this was one of his last movies he worked on.
And
it's quite possibly it's almost bittersweet in the sense that his last movie he worked on was a movie that kickstarted something brilliant.
Yeah, it is. That is very kind of heartwarming, yeah.
Another things we want to get through. Of course, Iron Man was the first Marvel movie. It was the first ever self-funded Marvel movie.
So oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And also, I think big thing I want to talk about is that this movie was in developmental hell for 17 years.
Gee, I'm
Iron
not
Man.
surprised. Yeah. I think I actually heard that before. I believe.
This
Yeah.
movie bounced back
1991?
from Universal to 20th Century Fox to New Line Cinema, and
Wow.
during New Line Cinema, they were planning to have Tom Cruise
They
as
were,
Tony
yeah,
Stark.
yeah.
No,
Sure.
no.
Yeah, they were planning. Yeah, there was even like rumors as well for like a long time. There was some. I think it was Multiverse of Madness that Tom Cruise
Yeah.
was going to be a variant of Iron Man in the film. But
I
obviously-
like Tom Cruise, but he would have been completely miscast as Iron Man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't see him as Tony Stark, man.
That's
I'm sorry.
100% true. And
Yeah.
thankfully, eventually, Marvel got the rights back. They partnered up with Paramount, and eventually they managed to get this movie done. It was also stated as well during the production of this. Like I said, the script wasn't fully done. Jon Favreau described this as like a $15 million student film,
Yeah.
which how like
Wow.
which how crazy it was on set. A $50 million student film would ended up grossing, I think, around $525 million worldwide.
Hey, that's not bad for the first MCU film.
That's-
But
given
see,
how far
that's
it's
the
come.
main problem we have now with these cinematic universes. Studios think now that if you start a cinematic universe, you'll get like $1 billion immediately.
Yeah.
The first Iron Man only made $525 million.
Yeah, which is not a whole lot.
That's
like.
an average.
That's very average.
That's an
yeah.
average for a movie.
Even in today's standards as well, that's actually surprisingly not that much.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
look at the Markiplier movie that came out, Iron Lung.
Iron Lung, yeah.
That movie,
Another Iron movie.
has made, yeah, that movie has made around 500 million
There you go.
at
like,
this
yeah.
time, and it's seen as like being an indie type thing.
It is, yeah.
So yeah, that's all my notes I have for this one. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's the end of our review.
It is, yeah. So now what are we going to give a rating out of this film?
So I think we failed to do this in the first one. We
All
failed to
right.
talk about our ratings. So I'm the one who came up with the rating system, all right? So I'll be the one who says it, Mister, trying to take my notes. So we, of course, did in the typical Irish way. We've given different ideas. So these ratings go from +5 to -5 because we want to be different. 5 is deadly, 4 is savage, grand out is 3, class is 2, sound is 1, middling is just 0, so that's like the basic type stuff. Gammy's 1, Kip is 2, Mankey is 3, Dog's Dinner is 4, and A Crockashite is 5.
Okay, I'm not going to remember any single one of them, so
That's
I'm gonna
why
have
I
to
have
take
it
a look
written
at that. I'm going to have to take a look at that.
That's why I have it written down.
Yeah. Do you know what? Originally, I would have given this film a savage, but the more I think about it, even the more times I rewatch it, the more I really do actually enjoy this film, especially for what it started. I'd probably give it a deadly, man. I'd give it a deadly. I don't know about you guys, but
this
yeah.
to this day is my favorite MCU film. It's gonna be deadly for me too.
I was thinking watching this back, I might give it a savage, but because of how well it was done and made and the detail they put in this movie,
Yeah.
So
I will give it a deadly.
It is a
when
deadly.
talking about it, like
Yeah, it is a very, very decent superhero film.
I mean, and you
pretty
look
decent.
Pretty decent
Decent.
superhero film.
roll credits.
But as I was going to say, you know, obviously this is not my number one favorite superhero film of all time. I know it's yours, Nat. Well, I know it's your favorite MCU movie, but
yeah.
like obviously there's more superhero films that I think are better than this, like such as I think even Spider-Man 2 or even The Dark Knight. I do think is a better film overall. But this film though is still very, very good. And it is very good for what it was trying to start off, and overall it's just a very good character.
And look what
character
this
story
set
of
up.
Tony Stark.
Look what this set up. Like there's clear mentions of what could happen in the future. I think it's not this one, but it's like the second movie. There's a fake version of the Captain America shield that shows
There
up.
is, yeah. It's such a cool Easter egg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so humbling to see the MCU now, which is like this multi-million like product that everyone has loved to the point that people are now hating it.
Yeah.
To go back to this point to see it just like this gamble essentially.
It was such a gamble. It was a huge gamble.
To like,
especially after 17 years of development hell.
Yeah.
Star an actor who kind of was known for being like not very stable.
Yeah.
A criminal, like we were talking
essentially,
about.
yeah.
Our man's a criminal. Public menace.
But like to this gamble, and you kind of get like you see hints of what can happen.
Exactly, yeah.
And the idea of ad-libbing continued throughout these Marvel movies.
And it's brilliant, like the way some of the lines that have come from this film, from not just from this film, but from this whole franchise, and just like the films that have come from this franchise.
So yeah, that's
so there you go, folks.
We'll probably for our next video. I think we should cover one of the Star Wars movies.
Maybe for the Star Wars movies, or what maybe the rest of the MCU films in Phase 1, and and maybe Phase 2 as well.
All the way up to God knows how many phases.
God knows, yeah. I hope you enjoyed this video, ladies and gentlemen, and I'd like to give another big shout out to NatterJohn. Thanks for joining this video, Nat.
It's my pleasure, man.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for also giving us some traffic to get the subscribers over. By the way, I should mention that this is going to be our 15th subscriber special.
Exactly.
Yay! 15 subscribers. I hit 3,000 yesterday, but
okay, no need to boast.
15's not bad either. Don't worry.
All right. Go to Mahogos.
Pretty decent, yeah, we're having a laugh. Our reviews are gonna be pure class. So click and subscribe, come join the crack. Pretty decent's always got